Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. It's good to finally be back home after being on the road for a little over a week and a half. In Vegas, both girls played in volleyball nationals. That was an amazing opportunity for both of them. The results, everybody wants to come home with the first place trophy. Neither of our teams did, but that's okay. There were some good performances. Allie's team finished 15th out of 65. So, hey, we'll take it, right? And now she's retiring semi-officially from volleyball. She's not going to do club anymore, but play at Round Rock again for her senior year, and that'll be about it. So, but overall, it's good to be back home. I do have a lot more resources to me available to me now, including my intern as well, sitting right here helping me with these things. So we have all the displays and stuff that you're used to. So with that, welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about what to do with the Chinese stocks, right? The DIDI IPO'd last week, got crushed. And then, of course, right after the IPO, the Chinese government cracks down on it. Interesting timing, right? So it got crushed again yesterday. It's selling off this morning. Not as bad as yesterday. It's 20% yesterday, right? So selling off this morning as well. So what to do? We going to hold here? Are we going to diamond hands through this? Is it paper hands time or lettuce hands time and to dump it all? I will tell you that honestly, it goes back to the overall investment thesis and the strength of each. If you think a ride-hailing program, number one in China with the largest middle class in the world, is a good place to have money, then you're going to stick. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it through this. May buy more. Let's kind of wait and see, while the sky is falling. But I'm holding through it. If somebody wants me to sell their stuff, I have no problem with that. I simply do it, but really looking to buy it back later, right? So, we shall see. For somebody like Alibaba, kind of a bigger name out there, the Amazon equivalent over in China, I think this is a complete non-starter. I would not sell my Alibaba here, really, for any reason. Or KWeb is another name we'll take a look at today. Again, that's an index fund full of all the Chinese stocks, of which there's many out there that are getting hit over the Chinese regulation story. But anytime you invest in China, going in, it's a communist country. Going in, there's country risk. Going in that there's going to be volatility. Also, that's all the negatives. When you start thinking positives, though, all of that stuff means that stocks of great companies are going to get beat up. And I think that's what's happening now. So when you look at the story of Luckin Coffee, you can't really have a holding up 6, 7, 800% if there wasn't some Trail of Tears or a House of Pain to begin with. Right. So again, that's what took them down. They took themselves down, I guess you could say, but obviously China took it to them. But it also gives you get into a situation where if and when the companies survive the regulatory scrutiny, there's a lot more upside because the stock got hit over nothing to do with the fundamentals and everything to do with the country risk. But that's what we're going to take a look at today. Also, Steve Weiss, famous CNBC investor, came out today, said he'll never invest in China stocks again. Okay, you can do that if you want. You can have that take if you want. I don't. I don't really care where the investment is. I'm looking to make the mostest that I can out there for myself and my folks. And I do think it's China. He also catching a lot of headlines for saying if you own an ADR, you own nothing. And I don't really agree with that. ADR stands for American Depository Receipt. If you look at your shares if you look closely at your portfolio, you're going to see it's not the actual stock. It is an ADR, which means a U.S. bank, or in the Grand Caymans bank, has bought the actual shares, and you are buying a version of that. You're buying a share of the actual shares. So his point is, if there's litigation, you don't have any actual rights. And I'm like, well, gosh, am I really holding this share all the way to litigation, or am I going to let it go and just buy it back later, like Luckin? Falling knife, uncle can't take it, sell out of it. I'm not looking to sue the company. I'm looking to see if the company survives. I'm going to buy it, going back higher, after all of the negative headlines are out, right? So anyhow, I don't really agree with his position there, but obviously he's famous, so he gets to say that. But I think you'll see more of that in the headlines today. All right, as far as our longs and our shorts today, love Luckin. Thanks. I see the chat starting to take off here. Yeah, A lot of people love Luckin Coffee and they know how to cup. I haven't either, but I will say that I do have one investor that, well, we he said if it hits 20, and if you know that, Luckin's sitting around 14. It's off my screen now, but was at 14 earlier, and 13, 14 yesterday, dropped back in the mid 13s. That's where it is. But said I've been calling 20 ever since it was down at $2. And that's when a lot of I personally have a 202 price point. I know some folks are down in the ones, but I said, it's going to 20 before I even think about selling. So I was promised a trip to Vegas if it actually hits 20 from one of my investors. And then of course he switched that lately to a trip to China for us to have a cup. And I'm like, probably rather just go to Vegas. But yeah, I'm sure we can get a cup of coffee sent or, a t-shirt or something, if you will. If it actually does hit 20. I will say if it hits 20 though, I did the math that it will be my largest single holding, more so than Apple or Amazon. So I do have to trim at some point because the numbers are getting kind of stupid large, which is good. But it also, I do have to be, I'm a little more risky in my own portfolio than I am anybody else's. There's a couple that mirror mine that are pretty close. Except for I do take a little more risk on the edge. I have a lot more advanced option strategies and stuff that I do for myself. That amps up the risk, but it also amps up the reward when you're right. And so far, I've been right a lot, except for DIDI, which is what we're talking about today. So we'll get back on point here in a minute. But yeah, Luckin, would you sell Luckin because of the advanced regulatory scrutiny? It's like, no, they've already been through enough. And, they were 10% higher yesterday while DIDI was 20% lower. All right, that's what I've got for your show today. If you are checking us out on a replay, make sure you click the subscribe and notifications bell. Coming up on 200 subscribers, so that's kind of cool. There's all these services out there you can pay for subscribers and such. I haven't done any of that stuff. So if you're a subscriber with me, it's actually a natural person to win. Hey, I like what I'm hearing. I want to hear it more. So that's pretty cool. True organic subscribers. And if you want to click the notifications bell, make sure you get notified whenever these come out. If you want to join the room, we haven't seen a lot of growth in the room, but I'm telling you, it's coming. There's, it's like it's one of those things. You do something for a while and then you're the overnight success. Something's going to hit. Maybe it's Luckin Coffee. My Luckin Coffee video from last week is my #1 overall video for number of views, and it's only been out a week. So, never know it can get you to the mainstream, but once you get out there and, have faith, stick around in the room. We've got a few of us, though, and what you don't see is a Q&A window and a chat window for us to have some jovial banter back and forth in the mornings before the market opens and try to position ourselves to make some money. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, here's our lineup card for today. Make sure you have your Q&A window set up and your chat window set up as well. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear today. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, welcome to July 7th, Wednesday. Seems like a Tuesday because we had Monday off, but it is not. It is a Wednesday, so already halfway through the week. Wednesday also brings the Fed meeting everybody was freaking out about. It's already been 3 weeks since that Fed meeting. But today, if just a reminder, every 6 weeks the Fed has a meeting. And the other 3-week cycle is when they release the minutes of the meeting. So a little bit of, people want to see what the Fed was actually talking about by looking at the minutes there. So that's coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern today. All right, objectives: grow our money, protect our money, live off our money. I will say this is growing our money, but if you're worried about the Chinese stocks, then just let them go. No harm, no foul. Maybe you buy them back later, maybe you don't. I do think that these situations are where, like Alibaba this morning, I asked my researcher, hey, which Chinese stocks are getting drugged down? I thought Alibaba for sure would be one of them. He's like, no, it's actually up this morning, or at least last time we looked, it was almost up 1%. DIDI selling off. I think it's a good short for today because of the negativity, but that thing's going to flip and go screaming back higher. It because it makes no sense. And that's how the markets work. So It's hard to predict them. So I still think, this is the opportunity of when do we buy more DD instead of when do we sell out of it. Our long-term topic today is what do we do with the Chinese stocks? We just talked about that. We'll hit the names below: DIDI, BABA, and KWEB. What's an ADR? Again, we'll get into that on Investopedia a little bit later. Our flow for today: long, short, open, short, long. That means we're going to take a look at the market review, the headline review. Market's in the green, or at least it was earlier. It looks like the Dow may be in the red slightly now, but certainly technology is up. We'll get into our short-term execution. Here it is for the room. Again, for my latecomer that just showed up, we have 3 longs: DXRT, YG, MZ, and ALF. And then we have a short in DD if you want it. I won't be taking it, but I might call it if it sets up correctly. We'll get in short-term execution. We'll execute the market open and then get to our Q&A. Contingencies, economic resources are standard. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at TD Ameritrade Think Pipes, which is the platform you see here. And we're going to go ahead and start looking at the long-term market first. Again, this is a 9-month chart of the S&P 500. What you see here is the, even though yesterday was a red day, it's like, what? We're up so much that you wouldn't be surprised if we had a 1 or 2 or 3% down move down here. So don't get shocked. We had 7 days straight up or something crazy like that. If it sells off for a little bit for no reason at all, you don't have to worry about your money. That's just normal motion of the ocean. As we zoom in a little bit, you can see that this is the 5-day of the S&P 500 here. So the blue are the individual days. So pretty much a straight move up. Yesterday we're selling off hard. Recovered a lot of it towards the end of the day, and you see the momentum is higher there today. All right, for our 3 longs, let's go ahead and set those up now. VXRT, again, an agreement for antiviral. You can see that antiviral model. That's what it is. And then YGMZ is a Chinese logistics company, is actually up. Can you believe it? China and up in the same sentence. So that's where we are there, and it doesn't look like it's holding up, but we can get back to that here in a second. And then ALF has an interesting story. I don't know what these guys do, but the headline that goes with them is that they're making some digital ad display screens for Uber and Lyft, which is, hey, another way to make money. You have certainly, like I took a taxi to the airport yesterday because they didn't want to wait for the Uber in Vegas, and taxi was actually cheaper. It's just you get into a taxi and it's kind of fun in Uber because you're riding in all these different vehicles. You get in a taxi, I was like, man, this is like going back to the 1980s, I think, when a taxi was actually made. But anyhow, they do have displays inside of taxis, and they sit there and hit you with ads. So it looks like they're just trying to do the same thing with Uber and Lyft. So ALF, I'll have to give that a look. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the headlines real quick. So here's where we are. Refresh these. All right, that looks normal. All right, so NASDAQ's up pretty big. And again, Dow's down a little bit there. EU, mixed. Asia, mixed. Bonds, look at that, 1.33. Was everybody screaming about inflation how many weeks ago? 4 or 5 weeks ago? And I told you, no, it's transitory. And guess what? Transitory. 1.33, so pretty low there. Oil is going higher. Again, some folks have the thesis it might touch 100. I don't think it will, but I think it could certainly see 75. Oil, gold, and silver higher, and then crypto has been kind of creeping back higher up to 35,000 on Bitcoin. All right, as far as our let's see, investment calls this morning. There's a couple. I'm looking for the one about the senator that says put your retirement money into Bitcoin. That's a move, Senator. Let's see. Here's the DD headline this morning. Is the app was removed from China's WeChat and Alipay apps. Sorry, it was removed from. It's been slowly removed for things while they go through the regulatory process. I fully expect them to get added back once they get the thumbs up. But remember, these other companies are trying to avoid scrutiny too. So the easiest thing to do, and again, I learned this in the military, why simply react when you have the time and energy to overreact? The easiest thing to do is when somebody faces scrutiny is you're like, oh, shocking. And you just distance yourself from them until the investigation's over. So anyhow, I think it'll all undo itself here soon, but it's certainly not going to help DIDI in the short term. All right, I don't see the Senator headline. So, all right, off to the, we'll take a look at the individual stocks after we get through the market open. Let's go ahead and share out Think Pipes again, and we'll get set up for the open here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. We have 15 seconds to the market open. You have 4 screens in front of you, the S&P 500, and then we have 3 longs in front of us. We'll keep an eye on that middle chart here and may switch to DIDI here at the open. All right, there is the opening bell. So let's get zoomed in here. You can see the S&P moving higher. You have VXRT again moving higher, and let's see, ALF up 4%, kind of dropping down there. I like this ALF story, so that's kind of my favorite. You see that YGMZ is up 8%, even though the charts look a little funky. If we zoomed out, you'd see that it is moving as well. All these are pretty low volume, so don't get too excited about the volume story on these. Vaxart selling off pretty good here. I guess that's only 10 cents. Let's look over here at ALF. Again, let me get the company name for you here so we know who we're in. ALF. Alfie.com, that helps. All right, down to 13.90 is the low of the day. So I'm looking at a 15 cent. So I'd want to be in this name by 14.05 going higher. Let's not take it just yet. Okay, now math change. 13.85, now 14 going higher, $14. I am going to take it here if it hits it. Again, 15 cents is your stop if this hits. It'll hit the second I look away. I am sure of it. So 14 there it was, it hit. So 14 is your entry point on this. 13.85 is your stop. So make sure you get that in there. I'm going to go 13.86, so I'm not off the chart. Again, that protects us as long as it doesn't hit the low of the day, or we're going to be in our trade. Here's your arrow going higher. And then to the upside, we're going 14.15 is our first R point. 14.30 is our second R point, and 14.45 conveniently where it was at, 35 minutes ago, is our exit. So it's just got to go back to where it was a little bit earlier. So when you think in terms of percent, it's sitting around 3% up. So it's really got to get that 4, 5, 6% up on the day and not bust the bottom of the day. So really like the entry into that trade, even though starting to knock on the door of that low of the day, but we'll see. Remember, that's why you have the one risk unit. If you get bumped out, you get bumped out, and you walk away. You don't cry it out. You come back tomorrow. All right, I'm going to get rid of YGMZ, even though it's up 8%. It certainly does fit our criteria. I just want to see what's going on in DIDI. DIDI down 5%. Gosh, this would almost be a turnaround and take it long here. Okay, we're out of our trade over here in ALF. Alfie let us down this morning, even though it sounds like they've got a great idea for digital advertising in Uber and Lyft, but not going to hold for today. All right. Our philosophy would have us taking short in DIDI here, cover high of the day. I'm not going to take it, but I prefer to take it long myself, but I'm not going to. And then VXRT. 765, 10 cents, 775. You would have entered about here, taking it long. Again, probably not strong enough to take, and again, not a huge amount of volume in it. All right, but overall market's doing well, so we'll get out of day trading mode and take a look at what's going on in the big picture, long-term investments. So you have VIP Shop. Okay, VIP Shop's about the riskiest Chinese company out there. VIP Shop, it's kind of crazy, but they're up almost 4%. Trade Desk up almost 4%. Luck and Coffee up 3%. That's worth an LK and CY. Boom. That's up 3%. What? Sure looks red to me, sir. Sir, what's going on here? Okay, so gapped up significantly. That's why it's still showing up. It's falling on the day, so a little bit of a interesting looking chart there. Go back to the 5-day. So it's up, but kind of down on the day, if you will, if that made sense, which it doesn't. It's gapping up, but down from the open. All right. We've got FireEye up. The cybersecurity plays have been on fire. I've been buying CIBR for folks as the ETF out there. DraftKings getting some love. Roblox, QClean, Facebook, Amazon. Did you see the move up in Amazon yesterday? If you didn't check out your portfolio, if you're wondering why it was up so much, almost a 5% move up in Amazon today after Bezos leaves the CEO chair. You know, the guy who's running it now is out, and everybody's like, woohoo, stock moves higher. You don't really see them. It's up at, here, let's take a look at it. Touched almost $4,000 yesterday per share. Okay, 3,700, you know. But from where it was, what, 2 days ago down here at 3,400, that's pretty amazing move. And if you were with me for the past, year and a half, it was down at 1,500 at the bottom of COVID when I was like, hey, you might want to buy the only company that can deliver stuff to your door during a pandemic. Pretty good call. And of course, does it have room to run higher? Yeah, absolutely it does. It's Amazon. If they break it up, it's like, okay, hurt my feelings, break up this huge company that's awesome into smaller pieces that are awesome as well, and I'll own a whole bunch of them. Sure, I'll take you up on that, government, if you think they're screwing me over. All right. So there we go. See, I saw Apple bouncing here up almost 1%. Let's go ahead and switch around to what's going the way down. Meme stock, AMC down, DIDI's down. Nikola, I haven't seen a headline on Nikola in forever. Palantir got hit. I wonder what's going on in Palantir world. Been kind of a slow leak from 27 down to 23. Again, it's a long-term buy and hold, so I'm not as concerned, but NIO's the Chinese EV maker. Smith & Wesson down a little bit. Palo Alto's down a little bit after they had a huge pop yesterday, if I remember right. Maybe it was the day before. Nope, yesterday. Up from 372 all the way up to 390 something. So nice move there. All right. There we go. All right, let's go back and take a look at the names I want to take a look at as far as our Chinese names and what to do. And Alibaba is the first one to take a look at. So here's the chart that I was talking about for Alibaba. You know, it cracked